welcome to the Africa Heritage Diaspora Television, still the #1 voice for Africans in diaspora, tagged the African Union Television. Guess what? We are broadcasting live from the African Union headquarters in Addis Ababa. What a great news. The 16th annual assembly of the African Union has just ended yesterday. It was a huge success. Well, of course, we have said Africa matters in any way in so many parameters. We are lucky to have the executive officer, the vice president, and the vice chairman of the African Union who officiated and initiated this program to success here to talk to us. You are welcome to this program, sir. Your Excellency.
Thank you very much, and I'm honored to be with you on this program.
Well, let me first of all express congratulations to you for the success of this summit. I attended, I saw things myself, I was there, everybody was so happy, and the people in diaspora were getting the feeler that something good is coming from the motherland, the continent. We are lucky to have people like you making the right decision and putting the right things together to now build the hope and confidence to our people in the diaspora. They want to hear and feel you. Tell us who you are.
Well, thank you for the compliment, but I think really that compliment is to our member states and also to people like yourselves. First of all, I'd like to pay tribute to you for starting this program to reach out to the diaspora, because in the African Union we have 5 constituencies in Africa, and the 6th constituency is in the diaspora. The 5 constituencies are North, South, East, Central, and West, and the 6th is diaspora. So it is really inspiring to see that we have initiatives like this one, and we would like to commend you for it, and that's why we're happy to associate ourselves with you. Well, as you said in the introductory remarks, I am the Deputy Chairperson of the African Union Commission, and in this portfolio, apart from the primary responsibility of working with the Chairperson of the Union to manage the affairs of this institution, I also look after the affairs of resource management, financial management, institutional reform, and also overall management of programs like the summit that we have just finished.
Well, so far so good. You are such an excellent gentleman who have really consummated good program for the African Union over the years. What will you point to as success of the African Union since its inception?
There are 2 phases of the African Union.
Yes.
The first part of it is the Organization of African Unity,
yes,
which, as you know, at that time when it was being established in 1963, was faced with 2 options: to create a United States of Africa, or to start with regional economic groupings and eventually create a United States of Africa. That was Nkrumah's choice of an all-Africa arrangement. But the decision at that time was, let's start small with sub-regional groupings. One success that has been there, these regional groupings are now working.
good.
You go to ECOWAS, you go to SADC, you go to COMESA, you go to East African Community, you are seeing more intra-regional trade, you are seeing more movement of goods and services, doing away with these borders inherited from colonial,
Sure.
and we are seeing more of regional programs, whether it's in infrastructure, whether it's in education, and whether it is in health and so forth. The second success, I would say, the African Union has created an identity of the African.
Good.
The colonization had humiliated the Africans so much,
Yes.
that they lost their own pride,
Yes.
their own self. But now we have revived the African languages, we have revived the African culture, and the Africa is asserting itself on the global scene. And the third one is that Africa is now more united.
Yes.
Africa is addressing issues of development,
Yes.
issues of democracy, and that is because as a continent, we are all determined to say Africa cannot continue to be the soul of the world, the ISO of the international community. Africa must be a participant in global affairs, and Africa is now in the mainstream of global politics.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Change remains the only constant thing in life.
Correct.
But growth is a recession. You have really changed the status quo of African nations towards a broad brain, encompassing the ideology and all the progress of African nation, and also sending feelers to our people in diaspora that Africa matters. And that is the main core of this interview. Africa matters. With the syndrome of the brain drain and the brain gain, now professionals who leave the shore of Africa, who are masters in their art over there, who are doing something, and who are world acclaimed. And fortunately, they are looking for at least to now come over and contribute to the sustainable development of their motherland. With what you have instituted at the African Union that has really give hope and confidence, what is your message to these people?
We see the diaspora as a critical component of the development of Africa.
Good.
And there are already significant contributions coming from the diaspora.
Sure.
In many countries in the continent now, remittances from abroad has overtaken tourism or some export earnings. This is something we need really to recognize and acknowledge by creating a mechanism that can enable the diaspora to play their role in the African context. First, as a continent, we have now started talking to the diaspora to organize them so that they can participate in shaping the agenda and the affairs of the organization.
Right.
We are now talking of creating a remittance institute which can create vehicles for investment. We know some of the money that is being remitted is useful, is helping, particularly in education back home, investing in infrastructure, improving health facilities in rural areas, water, and so forth. But we also need the diaspora to be able to get something from the continent so that they can invest and get a return, because the continent has huge opportunities that we feel those who have their roots in the continent should benefit also from the continent. Yeah.
Well, Your Excellency, I see a lot of changes that has happened even from the flag of African Union. I was here in 2005, I saw the flag and I see the horizon, I saw the stars and everything. This is pertinent to your own decision making of changing things. And can you tell us more of what you have innovated in terms of making things looking better in the African Union criteria of organization since your inception of office?
Our administration has been in place now for just under 3 years.
Yes, okay.
And during that time, we have continued to build on the tremendous milestones that our predecessors, President Konare and team, had put in place.
Good.
I'm lucky that we have an excellent team, our team leader being His Excellency Dr. Champing as our president. And coming here, we have looked at a number of areas. First of all, putting the African Union on the global agenda.
Yes.
Africa now sits at the G20 summit.
Okay.
Africa is at the G8 summit, and Africa is demanding changes in the UN Security Council, UN General Assembly.
Okay.
Those are some of the important elements of Africa. But we have also gone beyond that. Look at the climate change.
Yes.
For a long time, Africa was speaking with 53 voices. In the last 2 years, Africa has been speaking with one voice.
Oh, good.
We think this is a major achievement for the continent. And you could see the results from Cancun and even prior to that. Africa is also now developed strong partnership. We have partnership with India, where we talk of specific programs that are continental, that are regional, in the area of education, in the area of health, in the area of telecommunications. We have partnership with China, where we focus on infrastructure. And I'll be showing you some of the programs that we're implementing with China. And we have initiated the dialogue with the US to look at issues like AGOA, so that AGOA can change its shape, because at the moment it's a unilateral instrument, but we want to change it. Good. That is on partnership. On development, we have initiated a number of projects. We now are implementing a Pan-African University project. Okay. We have a Pan-African rail network project we're implementing. Good. Energy projects. Good. In that area. Okay. In the area of health, we have put in place instruments, maternal health care. We are pushing to eradicate malaria. There are some really major successes we have achieved. For instance, you cannot believe that we have eradicated rinderpest from the continent through the program that we implemented in the last few years. Good. In agriculture, we see the performance of the continent higher than previous years, and that is because our member states have agreed to invest more in agriculture. Okay. We have a continental program which is known as Comprehensive Agricultural Development Program, where we coordinate national, regional, and continental programs to make sure that this continent can feed itself. But these are only the beginnings, yes. And we know we need to move further down the road. At the institutional level, we're changing the face of this institution. Okay. If you go outside this building, you'll see a huge structure coming up to symbolize the fact that this is the headquarters of Africa. That's good. A modern conference facility, yes. But also to create capacity. We have almost the entire world has accredited ambassadors to us because they see the significance. And because of that, particularly in the area of peace and security, yes. Africa's voice now matters. Okay, yes. And since your program is about Africa Matters, yes. Africa is leading the way. That's right. Even in solving crises. Yes. And those are some of the successes. That's right. Yeah.